The first of the 60th anniversary Doctor Who specials for Starbase certainly did divide opinion. And at the end of the episode we saw Donna spill her drink on the Tardis, it went up in flames and took her and the Doctor somewhere which we find out in this episode, Wild Blue Yonder. We start off in this episode in 1666 England with Isaac Newton. Now you may have noticed they've done some race swapping here for Isaac Newton, which has caused some outrage online. And it's an interesting debate to be had because some people say it's okay if it's a fictional character, but not so much if it's a historical character. And there's lots of different opinions on where the line is drawn for these sort of things. Is it okay if it's a white character but not a black character, and all that sort of thing. My 2 cents on the situation is that if you're going to incorporate real history into the show, then make it believable because it's going up against something unbelievable in the Doctor and his shenanigans. And so if there is no attempt to strive for accuracy, it will break that immersion. In the same way as if the Doctor at some point goes to visit Barack Obama in the past and you see my face there, you're going to think, well, what's going on here? Now let's get back to the bloody episode where we have the Doctor and Donna land in a tree. They have a bit of a back and forth with Isaac Newton. They do spoil a few things about his life which are coming up. Before they leave, Donna couldn't help herself by saying the line gravity of the situation, but Isaac Newton actually thinks of a different word, and that is mavity, which later in the episode we see Donna using the sentence, so we can understand that they did actually change the course of history there. The TARDIS takes them somewhere else and it's in such a bad nick that it literally breathes fire here and it's in a very bad state. While in this mess, the TARDIS plays the song Wild Blue Yonder, which Donna and the Doctor do discuss being a Air Force song, one which Donna sang in choir as well, and I'm not completely sure why it's actually playing in the first place. The Doctor says the TARDIS can regenerate, so he puts the sonic screwdriver in the keyhole to let it do its work. While the TARDIS mends itself, they go off to explore this spaceship and they enter this big corridor here. Now some of the charm of Doctor Who does come from its bad and cheesy looking effects, but in this specific situation I really wish we got more of an authentic look to things because they're walking around an empty spaceship and that whole ambience, I really wanted that to come across on the screen and it didn't do that because it was all so fake. I really like these shots here where we can see someone peeping through to see the Doctor and Donna, and it makes you a bit more on edge about what's actually on this ship, but it can't be this quiet, there's got to be something going on. We then see Donna talking about Isaac Newton and saying how hot he was, with the Doctor agreeing and saying, oh, is that who I am now? And I think what they might be doing here is setting this up for Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor, and they might then explore that further when he takes over the reins. The Doctor and Donna then hear the TARDIS going and they run back, but it's too late, the TARDIS has already gone. And I really like this part because now we have the Doctor left without the TARDIS, without the sonic screwdriver, and just his mind. And also on this ship, which is already a bit creepy, we now have them stranded there as well. The Doctor explains to Donna that there is hope because there is a mechanism on the TARDIS called the HADS, which means it will disappear when it's in danger, but then it will come back later. However, it'll only come back when the danger is gone, and it's great that he says that while we're looking at this scene here, where once again someone is watching the Doctor and Donna. The Doctor and Donna return to the corridor, and while they're walking, Donna says how her choir teacher, who is called Mrs. Bean, said that the Wild Blue Yonder song was a jolly song. We then hear the word Fenslaw and the ship starts to reconfigure itself. The Doctor then has a brainwave and he puts his foot down on this button which releases his vehicle, and so now they can get to where they want to get to much faster. They then get to this pretty knackered looking robot who doesn't really do much apart from take one slight step forward, and I'm not sure what that's all about. Donna takes control of the vehicle and they zoom down that corridor, going so fast that Donna seems to have lost her face. Once they get to the end of the corridor, they get to a room which includes a chair which happens to be the captain's chair, and the Doctor translates from 1 to 10 so he can understand their code. The Doctor reveals there are no life forms on the ship, and also that 3 years ago an airlock door was open and then closed. This whole scene started to add some mystery to the episode, and also there's some great use of music here, which I think throughout the whole episode actually the music was really on point to really again build that suspense and build that atmosphere. We also learned that this ship is on the edge of the universe, and so not only are they alone without a TARDIS to get back, but they're also so far away, so yeah, really just make you feel that sense of there's no escape. The Doctor and Donna hear a bang outside, but there's nothing there, and then the ship goes through another reconfiguration, and so we've got that mystery as well. Why is the ship doing this? What are these words being said? So there's a lot of things, a lot of questions being asked here. The Doctor then inspects these rectangle things and even does a little fake out death on Donna, and I think it's great that we got these characters isolated, because we could also see the great chemistry that these two actors have with each other as well. And we also see in this episode how well these actors can play alternate versions of themselves, as we get the first glimpse of the entity on the ship when Donna is speaking to a fake doctor and the doctor is speaking to a fake Donna. I tell you what, I worked out that these were imposters way quicker than I did in any Among Us game in the past. These scenes do a really good job of building tension, because we have our real characters like Donna saying that it's got colder, and so you can notice that there's some differences, something's happening in this room with these different versions. And also when they say that their arms are too long, you're like, well, what's going on with that? And then we get the reveal from the fake Donna with that a very extended arm. You know, what actually are these creatures and what sinister things they have in mind? David Tennant did say in the behind the scenes that it did get a bit confusing playing these characters as well as their own, but as you can see on the screen, it must have been a great laugh as well. And I think this image here shows the true wackiness of Doctor Who, and it's probably a meme at this point as well. We then get this creepy chase scene, which I don't know if any of you are gamers out there, but it really did remind me a lot of Little Nightmares. The Doctor and Donna conclude that these things aren't just a copy of themselves, but they're also things which have their memories as well, so they're even more dangerous. The two of them get split up, and then we get some interrogation scenes where even us as the audience aren't completely sure who is actually who. During these scenes, we have the real Doctor talk about the flux, and also reference the Timeless Child revelation, which was in the Jodie Whittaker era. As I said in my previous video, I haven't watched a lot of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who, but I have watched the last few episodes and I do more or less understand what this is all about. But for hardcore fans, I know they've said that it was very underdeveloped, and I know a lot of fans are not very happy with that revelation in the first place. But I do think the reaction we got from David Tennant here was really realistic to this whole situation, something I don't think we actually got for Jodie Whittaker. It turns out that the Doctor's emotional moment there was in fact with a fake Donna, and I do like how she sort of just melted into the ground. Over to the other conversation, and Donna realises that the tie which the Doctor threw on the floor earlier has now disappeared, and so yes, that has revealed him to be a fake.
You're a phony! Hey everybody! This guy's a great big phony!
We then get this really cheesy exorcist type crab walk from the fake Doctor, which is probably one of my favourite moments from the whole episode. Hopping over to the real Doctor, and as you can see, he's releasing his emotion here, and these sort of scenes are really small, but they're really effective because that's all we need to see really. We need to see him unload now and again, especially after what just happened. All four versions meet up in the room and they're having to again work out who the real ones are. They do work it out, and then the Doctor pulls out a salt shaker from his pocket. How did that get there? I do not know. Maybe it will relate to something in the next episode with the toy maker. They make a cock and bull story about the salt, but the fake ones see through their lies and we get to see their lovely teeth. They are able to make an escape and they slide a door between them, and the Doctor realizes that what they're trying to do is read them and become the perfect copy. Plan is to just stop thinking, but that doesn't go too well, and then they hear a bang on the window and it is the captain of the ship floating around. The Doctor understands that the captain was the one to open the door 3 years ago to kill themselves because they were worried that they would get 100% copied by this entity. But before she left, she wanted to destroy them by setting up a slow countdown because this entity doesn't like things slow, and so that countdown is actually a countdown to a bomb. They also work out that the robot is the one who will detonate the bomb, and so the fakes want to run after it. The Doctor sets the countdown to go faster so this entity won't be able to stop the robot in time. We then see this long chase down the corridor, and the fake Doctor runs like an animal at one point. Because of the hostile action coming to a close, the Tardis returns, and the Doctor has to choose between the two Donnas by asking why is Mrs. Bean so funny. The ship goes kaboom, and the Doctor nearly makes a huge mistake by picking the wrong Donna, but he realises just in time that the one he has on board has arms a bit too long, so he dumps her out of the Tardis a bit like Aldi workers dump your groceries down the checkout. And with that, the entity gets destroyed along with the ship and the remains of the captain. While on the Tardis, the Doctor says that he invoked a superstition on the edge of the universe when he did the whole salt thing, and is quite worried about it, but he doesn't go on to say the reason for that. We then get a conversation between the two of them where Donna's trying to get the Doctor to open up about what's happened since they were last on the TARDIS together. Now of course he did get a chance to do this in this episode, but it was to a fake Donna instead of the real one. Now I do think in this final episode, The Giggle, we might get this conversation play out before he does eventually regenerate, but we'll talk about the next episode in a second because we've got one final scene in this episode which involves Wilf. It has been confirmed that this was the only scene that Bernard Cribbins was able to film before he sadly passed away. But I'm just so happy that his character was able to have this moment here with Donna and the Doctor, and that he was able to be involved with the 60th anniversary. Just before the episode finishes, Wilf tells the Doctor that the world's coming to an end, there's a plane crashing above, there's people fighting each other. We'll all get into that in the Giggle next week. So yeah, it was definitely a lovely way to end the episode with Bernard Cribbins' Wilf. Other than a few things I mentioned, I thought this was a really well crafted episode. I think it was well written as well by Russell T Davies, who I think it can be a bit self-righteous at times, but he is no doubt a good writer. With Doctor Who being a family-friendly sci-fi show, I think the horror here was at a good level. I think for little kids maybe they'll find it a bit scary here and there with some of the imagery, but I think for most people they'll just find it as a really tense and captivating episode. In terms of the villain being this entity, I did quite enjoy that because I always do like something which is unknowing and we're not sure what exactly it is, because your brain can fill in the blanks. For 60th anniversary special, it was actually quite simple. There were some rumours going around that other Doctors were going to appear in this episode, but I think I actually like it better that they did this sort of episode because it was more focused on Donna and the Doctor. Next week's episode, The Giggle, will be the final celebration episode, and I think that's where we're going to get a lot of things come to fruition. Of course, we've also got the Toymaker making his return. Just from the teasers they've shown, it looks like there might be some sort of issue happening with the regeneration of the Doctor. They might be sort of going back and forth a few times, I'm not really sure, but it looks like there's going to be some problem which Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor's like, what the hell is going on here? What is going on here? So I'm sure we'll find all that out next episode, but I hope we do get again a lovely finale for David Tennant now as the 14th Doctor. So yeah, I was pretty satisfied with this episode, but what are your thoughts? What did you think of the whole Isaac Newton thing, the effects they used here, the overall story? What do you think is going to happen next episode? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below, and if you fancy another video, on screen is one which YouTube have picked out just for you.